you ready?
He did not say Ocho.
He was true to his word.
Distracted.
I ruined it.
I was distracted.
I ruined it last time anyway. So hello, Weeb Club, welcome us podcast. We weren't here last week. Whatever.
No,
Not.
we all died and then came back to life. We're all Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what's going with that.
Comments.
Let me look. Okay, yeah, we have to talk about the incident. I mean, I mentioned it when it happened, but I mean, just the comment from Master Spoon says it better than I could have. None calling Crafts low bro is like Brooke calling Big Mom young lady. I mean, like, yeah, just immaculate. I couldn't believe it when it happened. It was just craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I respect it so much.
It's one of the funniest Master Spoon comments.
So yeah, there were a couple comments of people talking about characters they hate. I don't know about the Persona 5 one because I haven't played the game. But everyone I know likes it, so I assume it's a wrong-minded comment.
Here's what I'll say about that one. I just saw it. You say you'll never understand his popularity. He's got fluffy hair. He's a pretty boy, and he's gay as fuck with the main character. That's like all you need for him to be a popular character. Like, I feel like him.
He also has the mysterious thing going for him.
Yeah, like Akechi being popular is genuinely like the least surprising thing from that game. Like, I feel like if you don't play that game and immediately recognize that like he's going to be one of the most popular characters in that game, you just like don't have like you have no idea what characters people like. You know what I mean? And whether or not you like them has nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you can just like see a character and like know that they're gonna be popular even if you don't like them. You know what I mean?
True. The comment from user LY6RJ3ST2E.
You are insane for that one.
I kind of agree. Like the rival characters for the love interests, they sometimes do get on my nerves. Like for a while into Niseko, I just didn't really like Onodera. Tachibana, is that her name?
Marika or Marika, yeah.
Mark. Okay, I don't know why I thought that was her name.
No, I think
I didn't like her for a while, but
Tachibana might be her last name. I need to double check, but I just call her Marika. So, Tachibana Marika sounds right, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up.
Until those like last arcs where like Nisekoi like really pops off, it took me like that long to like really like her. But like I really, really, really like her now, like a lot. But I do like it is a tough barrier for those kinds of characters to get over. Where like, yeah, sometimes they're just gonna be like extremely annoying. Like Ruka can definitely be annoying in Rent a Girlfriend. I don't dislike her, but sometimes when she's around and just kind of like getting in the way, it just kind of like boil. Like it makes my blood boil sometimes. But it's more so like with her, sometimes it can be like endearing, but then at the same time it cannot. So like I kind of like flip flop on how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I gotta get mad for a second. So Felix,
go off.
So you're talking like I feel like this is a guy who isn't fully up and up on the history of the Weeb Club and Plunderer, a show that we talked about, and then a manga that we all read. And even when we were talking about the show, it's like, wow, this anime as an anime kind of is but the writing's there, it's solid, and then it goes fucking hard. And like I'm pretty sure everyone here who's read Plunderer thinks it's fucking great as shit. including Hina, who is good. And so, like, the thing about the reasons that they don't like Hina, it's literally this, like, they probably also hate Sakura and saw Sakura in the thumbnail and be like, well, I can't just hate Sakura because they're making fun of that. They like Naruto. I'm gonna make fun about this other character that they probably don't know about from the show they haven't watched. And it's like, no, motherfucker, Hina's great. Fuck you. She's cute and good. She's a rock for, like, maybe care about stories for more than just the things that happen in them and the characters who do the things. Like, she's good. Fuck you.
Why is he molding?
Because
he's just a guy.
I don't care. I like Plunder a lot. I'm rereading it this year, and she's very funny and good, and you know, shit, I had more to say about her. Fuck, my brain just stopped.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, this is based on the show, because he said he carried the show, by the way.
Oh, I know. He's part. Like, that's an L. He needs to read the manga, but also, like, even if the adaptation isn't great, like, there's still things, like, details in it that are fine, and it's still, like, the anime original content is not good, and visually it is not good generally, but, like, the actual, like, events that happen in the anime are basically the same as the manga. So, like, because I remember, like, when we were watching it, you know, Vindy and what were basically like, you know, it's whatever, but like, you know, there's interesting stuff here where I was like, well, you know, it's the manga that I already read, but it doesn't look very good, and you know, there's some weird like details and foreshadowing here that I can pick up on, but I can't talk about because I don't want to spoil you guys. You know, so it's but then again, I didn't watch past episode 9 because I'm pretty sure we got to the fucking demon and we were like, you know, the whole reason I fucking picked up the anime in the first place was because I wanted you guys to react to that. But anyway, I lost track of what I was saying. Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't think I have anything else to respond to comment wise.
No, I don't have any other comments that I give a shit about, honestly.
I felt like this should be said because it's still the beginning of the episode. The next seasonal for next season is the fucking Vending Machine
fucking
show.
Go!
It probably has a title that I did not remember, and I don't think I'm ever gonna say.
Vending Machine.
I think it airs
Isekai.
July. Yeah. So it airs July 5th, I believe, which means that we will have watched it next time. So perfect timing, I guess, because we're talking about the end of Oshinoko later. And then the Vending Machine show will start. So, yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
my biggest win.
Whoever cares, make sure to watch
I used to
that.
pray for times like these. Let's fucking go.
You guys don't have to pick up more seasonals. You just have to watch a different seasonal. All right. Anyway, so the topic came from the Patreon. Soul Bad Guy. I'm just gonna read it out loud. Hello, Weeb Club. I saw a video on Sonic Frontiers a while ago, and they said that they weren't fans of the story, as the somewhat somber tone crossed with the characters created too much of a weird disconnect, and they couldn't get invested. They argued that Sonic should only be fun, silly adventures, since they're cartoony mascot characters, and the more serious narratives are off-putting. And yeah, they go on to say like Kingdom Hearts and Mortal Kombat have gotten the same sort of discussion. And just like, should franchises stick to certain styles of narrative, or taking things too seriously be to its detriment, or demographic, or they just bring up a bunch of the possibilities that are, you know.
Do you guys mind if I go first? Because I feel like
I feel like, you know, he brought up Kingdom Hearts, and it's like, yeah, Vindy and none like Kingdom Hearts, especially.
So here's actually my stance on this, which is probably gonna be a little bit different. I think as long as like the creators of something are like okay with it, I am super down for like nothing in a series or franchise to have like any kind of tonal cohesion. I don't even care sometimes about like narrative cohesion. You know what I mean? Like, I think some of the most interesting things in series, like especially like really long running series, because here's the problem with like saying Kingdom Hearts, right? Here's what you're missing. Kingdom Hearts is like a Final Fantasy game. It's also like a Disney spinoff thing. You know what I mean? Like, the characters are owned by Disney, and it's like a Final Fantasy thing. It's already like 2 different series, right? So like, that doesn't make sense for that. You know what I mean? And I think like, you know, Star Wars has shit like Star Wars Visions, which is like really interesting because it's like just completely different and uses, you know, just like the iconography kind of to tell like completely different stories, right? Even so, I think that like the idea that a series has to be tonally consistent like is really limiting, right? As long as like what's being made is like enjoyable or people are getting something out of it, I don't think there's any reason that a series has to be limited by, it was this in the past, so it has to stay this, right?
Yeah, so actually, an example I just thought of is Joker 2, which I have not. It's not. I don't think it's out yet, but it's apparently going to be a musical.
Yeah, and like Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn.
Yes, and when people aren't happy about that, but my friend pointed out that like the first Joker, it's basically like it's based off of the comic book character, but literally if you just take out the name Wayne, it's just a thing. It's just a movie. Like it barely has it like the fact that it gives Joker a name is something that like the comics has veered away from, right? Like there's the I forget. Was it Killing? No, there's various explorations of the Joker and him having a multiple choice backstory. I want to say it's a Killing Joke, but I also remember another comic that sort of has like 3 stories of like 3 people who could like maybe they're the Joker kind of thing. So, but then the Joker movie comes out and it gives a version of the Joker that has a very clear identity and backstory that throws away this core idea of the character and makes what I thought was a pretty decent movie, right? Like, and basically my friend pointed out, like, it could have just been an original property, so people being mad about it, like, being a musical is, like, it's already so divorced from the comic book character, what are we holding it to, right? Like, what idea, like, because, and especially with superheroes being, like, this modern myth where, like, the whole point is that people can take them and do whatever the fuck they want with them. Like that's cool, right? Like the fact that DC just has like they have a Journey to the Center Earth shit, they have space shit, they have magic shit, just whatever the fuck they want to do, right? Like that's So yeah, I'm definitely in the camp of just like let people do whatever the fuck they want, especially like because I guess like, and I'd rather see more different and imaginative stuff than just like doing the same thing over and over and over again. Right, so like, and also I want to point out in regards to Sonic, because they did the funny stuff, and no one liked the video game Sonic Boom. So maybe there are probably other reasons.
Yeah,
for that,
I mean,
but
it has nothing to do with like the problem with Sonic Boom is that like it's a bad video game, right? Like the problem that a lot of times people can make with like a tonal thing is also that like the thing isn't good, and then they blame it on a change in tone or something different, right? But like. I don't think that's how it works. I think if something is like good and changes the tone, people will accept it. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Like, so many series that people. I mean, I don't know. Like, so many series that people love change shit all the time, like about their tone and like even Zelda, right? Like, it has a lot of similar iconography, but the tone in a bunch of those games is completely different. You know what I mean? Compare like a game like Minish Cap to like. Majora's Mask to like Wind Waker to fucking like Tears of the Kingdom. You know what I mean? Like they're completely fucking different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where like in this case with like the complaint about Sonic, it's like, yeah, I personally didn't like this, which is like fine. Like it like I can see a world in which the way Sonic Frontiers handles its game, like its story isn't to someone's liking because like yeah, Sonic is just like kind of by himself for like most of the game, and like he does interact with the characters, but like they're not like their usual bright happy selves, or like in a lot of ways they're sadder about what's happened to them aside from Knuckles, really, which is like he's just kind of acting like normal kind of. But like I feel like in particular with the Sonic example, it's really weird considering that like as soon as its first 3D game where it could actually like voice act and have them like doing stuff, it has a serious story. Like if you understand like what chaos actually is and like what happened with like Knuckles' people in Adventure 1, it's like that's literally just been Sonic for like over 20 years. Like I don't know like what someone would like be cooking if they're just thinking that it's like always been like fun and silly adventures. I also feel like when it comes, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, it's just good. I mean, the only real basis I have for Sonic the Hedgehog is like Adventure 2, where it's like the climax is literally like a crazy fucking scientist is literally going to kill everybody because he's lost and like with a fucking horrific bio
because his daughter got shot and he gave up on the world. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like
and Shadow dies.
yeah, and that's also followed with the video game Shadow the Hedgehog, which is was kind of admittedly it was mocked for being like really dark and edgy, I guess, like at least marketing wise, where it's like Shadow's got a motorcycle that he doesn't actually need because he can run faster and also a gun, right? Like it's yeah, it's like, and yeah, I never actually played Adventure 1, but it sounds like it's not really a departure that much, so
Yeah, like it's interesting to see how like as soon as they could have like voices and like a way to show a more dynamic and involved story, that's what they chose to do. Like I feel like even within the classic games, there's some DNA of that before they actually like really showed it. But I was also gonna like bring up how like some of the comic stuff you guys were mentioning is like some of the best examples of just like completely changing the tone and like making something completely different. Like the fact that Thor was just like an old guy with like a cane or something, or like before he before he is what he was, like before he became what he is now, he's like just a completely different character.
Yeah, and then you can have like the Joker fucking like I saw it was like one page where it's like there's just this one kid who the Joker just goes up and steals the report card of every day, and he runs away saying your parents will no one will ever believe you, because like he's gonna go home and it's like the Joker stole my report card. It's like no he didn't, you're lying. And it's like he's just being a cunt for no reason. The same character who like cut off his face in one arc, like you pick one character and again you could do whatever the fuck you want with them, right? So obviously there's different versions and realities and stuff, but even in series, because I was thinking like especially with Japan, because I remember I feel like you mentioned this a while ago, Vindy, of just like how tone shifting is just very expected and normal in Japanese series to a degree, where it's like, because as you were talking about, I thought of like within a series obviously, but like Sangatsu no Lion, Berserk, Evangelion, One Piece,
Yeah.
right? Like all of these series have either, like fucking Eva has the dance episode, which is a great episode. Like it's super fun, but it's also silly and comedic, right? Berserk has lots of silly gags, like like Puck being deformed like half the time nowadays, and I remember one with what's the kid's name? He gets fucking hit in the balls.
Yeah.
Like, and it's super cartoony. Like Sangatsu no Lion uses really good effect where it's like literally like the first chapter / episode is like he's in his shitty headspace, and then he goes to the Kawamotos, and suddenly everything's vibrant and fun, and he's like it's healthy because it's good for him, and and just One Piece is like I've heard takes from my brother of people he knows throughout the years who just can't get into One Piece because of the art style, right? Because it is super cartoony and silly, and but what's like there's dark stuff in it, like but it's like Japanese, and even in general, like I think like people grow up with our kids' media, and then they get surprised when, whoa, this Japanese thing is actually way dark. And it's like, yeah, but that's like fucking normal. Like tokusatsu, watch a tokusatsu series. A lot of them have fucking Die Ranger. There was a whole like evil fucking not an evil. He was a dragon. He was making people kill themselves and jump like literally in droves, just jumping off of buildings, and then they fucking nuked a city. Like dark shit like that just happens all the time in tokusatsu, and it's aimed at literal 7-year-olds, right? So it's like even like when you get to tone, it's also like what audiences will accept and what's allowed for certain audiences can vary culturally, right? So there's just so many factors to consider that, like, I guess limiting a series or a character or something to its like one thing is just short-sighted, I guess.
I feel like some of the most famous characters in the world wouldn't be as famous or like as remembered today if they weren't able to like change their tone. Like the fact that like the Batman, like the newest one that exists right now in its current form that people really love exists is because he's like just fundamentally not the same as when he first debuted. Like I just feel like if someone says that like, oh, tone can't change, then like there's definitely something that they like that has done that they just like have grown up and is used to it being that way, but it like certainly wasn't always like that.
Yeah, and it's also just a very like personal thing where it's like, because like if you don't like the humor in Berserk, then you're probably not going to care for those parts or moments. Where if you do find it funny, then you're not going to mind, right? So you're not, and then like, so the person who does, like, it's that's ultimately what it boils down to. Like, this person didn't get invested in the story of Sonic Frontiers, and they're imagining something different and trying to explain the reason why, but other people do like it and do get things out of it. And at the end of the day, like, what matters is, like, is it good, I guess, and do people like it? And so from what I hear, people seem to like the game. So, because just admit it's not for you. It's not that hard, right? Like, don't. That's the, I guess, the issue with the guy. My issue with the guy, where it's like he wants the whole franchise to bend to his taste when there's a billion other things out there that he'll like. So,
Yeah, it's hard because it's like, I don't know. I think like when it comes to stuff like that, it's like I know it gets hard for people to distinguish like the difference between not enjoying something and thinking it's like a problem. But like, I don't know. I mean, it's just like you have to think about when like you want to think, is this like a problem? You have to think like, has there ever been a time, or could you ever picture a time where like it could be done well? You know what I mean? And all it takes is like thinking of one series where we've named so many where it's like, okay, and then that just means that maybe it's this specific instance you don't like, as opposed to it shifting in tone is like a problem.
Yeah, like, because we kind of talked about in like the remakes thing, where it's like, even if there's like the original Gridman, or I probably would not like the original She-Ra if I watched it, but the fact that someone did watch those shows, got a lot out of it, then went on to enter a creative field and make these, Faultless She-Ra and the Princesses of Power and, SSSS Gridman, and make like really good things out of that. Like, so, just let varied people be creatively in control and cool things can happen, and also I don't know anything about Mortal Kombat, so I don't like, that just seems weird to compare in this example to Sonic and Kingdom Hearts, because like, okay, I see Sonic, I get the argument for Sonic, goofy cartoon characters, right? I get the argument for Kingdom Hearts, it's Disney, like even like, yeah, it is a crossover with Final Fantasy, but like at least from what I've seen, the style of the Final Fantasy characters, they're more like, they're made to fit closer to the Disney style, if that makes sense, where they're more less what's the word, you know what I mean, they're less like detailed, I guess. Chibi? No, that's not the right word. I don't know. Oh, someone step in and say something. Wait, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Kinda.
Like, does Kingdom Hearts Sephiroth look like Final Fantasy VII Remake Sephiroth?
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Also, like, but part of that is like,
okay.
There's something I was also gonna bring up, I guess, is that like series changing a bunch is just kind of the nature of series being around for a long time. You know what I mean? Like any series, any like video game series or whatever that's been around for 30 years, technology's changed a lot, right? Like imagine if they announced a new Mario game recently. Imagine if that was fucking still just made for the NES, because that's what people expect from Mario. Like,
I mean, Mario, I definitely feel like if it did a more like serious narrative, that might be strange, but I don't want to just outright dismiss it. And also, I mean, well, I guess at that point they weren't really the characters, because I did think, wait, There Will Be Brawl, but obviously that wasn't official, and it was also very different from an actual Nintendo property. So,
I mean, I guess the closest thing to a serious narrative would be like some of the RPG Mario games, like maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think people like the story of A Thousand Year Door, and then also like, Mario RPG, the one that's being remade now. I think that has like a little more of a story to it.
They do also still have a lot of comedy though. Like I don't know how much like in the writing, and I don't know how much of that is there in Sonic Frontiers, in comparison, basically. So, and also, yeah, I never actually finished either. Like I think I've played. Yeah, I've actually played a little bit of, all like the 3 first Paper Mario games, including Super Paper Mario and then the Super Mario RPG. But I almost beat Paper Mario, but I never actually finished any of them. So, and it's been
those
a long
games are
time
bangers,
cases,
by the way.
So.
Well, I've only
I'm looking
really played Thousand Year Door, but that game
so.
goes so fucking hard. I love that game.
They need to like just port all of those like they've been doing with the Pikmin games.
Speaking of, did you guys see a little bit of a side tangent that like, which is, I mean, it's still like close enough to the release window for Zelda that this is pretty surprising, but Pikmin 1 and 2 in Japan, like it passed like Zelda on like the Switch shop.
Oh. Shit.
Which goes kind of dummy.
Okay.
So hopefully it is nice. Like I've really considered buying them just because like it's so fucking nice that all the Pikmin games are like on the Switch and like I want to replay them. Oh, I just don't think I will right now because I got other shit and not a lot of money, but I want to. And 4 looks fucking good, so.
But yeah, I guess to finish my thought earlier is like Mortal Kombat's like I know that there is like a goofiness to it. Because most of my knowledge is limited to the earlier games, but it's also a very violent game, and as I understand, they're like in a big tournament to have a wish granted, basically, or some desire granted. So it's like the recipe for a serious story is already there. Like I don't see why that one's being brought up because like I don't know, is something fundamentally absurd about the premise or the characters? Like I get like I don't know. From the outside, I don't understand why it was brought up in comparison to Kingdom Hearts and Sonic. So. But I've also never played a Mortal Kombat game for more than like an hour. So, have we about exhausted this topic?
I think so.
All right, good topic. So yeah, we finished Oshi no Ko.
Really?
Hateful.
Mr. Nunmanji,
So
you really,
cringe.
even after those episodes, like I'm not saying they were amazing, right? Like I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh my god, best show I've ever seen."
No, I'm exaggerating.
But I thought it was fine.
I thought episode 10 was pretty good.
I liked it quite a bit. I like Kana. She's fucking good.
She's the best one.
True.
Yeah, good. Kana, good. She made some good noises this last episode. I like the characters. I'm excited to eventually read the manga. I'm gonna give it a bit. I'm not gonna jump right into it. I'm already reading a series by the same writer anyway. I should at least finish that first. The concert was good. Like the fact that I don't know, it's kind of I don't know. It was really nice to see a full like 2D animated concert. Because I've been watching Aikatsu and obviously they're all CG and even like Love Live is a hybrid. Like I haven't watched I guess that many recent Idol anime, but I don't know. It was cool. Because it definitely feels less common nowadays, but that could be incorrect. So,
I do think that like the concert was kind of short, probably because it was 2D animated. Maybe I don't know. It was pretty. It was like it was nice to see though. It looked nice.
I mean, it was broken like compared to like say Love Live where they do the whole song. Basically, like, yeah, they didn't do the whole songs, and they did, like, a couple songs, and they broke them up with, like, the Kana, sort of mind state exploration before the Aqua. Sort of, like, I like the way it sort of goes back to the first episode in a couple ways, like, with, like, having Aqua doing the glow sticks, right? Like he did in the first episode with Ruby, and look.
Yeah, I pogged when he held up the white glow stick.
I was like, when she was talking about the white and there being that in the crowd, I was like, okay, when the white glow stick comes up, and it's gonna be awesome. And it was fucking Aqua fucking dancing like a dork. I do wonder if it's ever gonna come out that they were in that viral video because when it hits a point where Aqua and Ruby are both like known, and it's like it's these two. Like I'm just wondering if that's ever gonna happen as like it could be a joke, but I just want because it'd be funny. I also liked when like Kana was talking with Aqua and his eye changed dark for like the joke, I guess, because I don't think it's happened like that before where they're good. Kana's super good.
There's something like a little. I'm not able to fully put my finger on it, but I feel like in a lot of episodes, there's something about how like quickly they resolve the conflict of the episode that just makes me like not enjoy Oshi no Ko as much. I don't know if it would feel different if I just like literally watched it straight through or read it straight through, but like I feel like I have that kind of like disconnect with Oshi no Ko.
Okay.
Like a few examples off the top of my head is like from way back when like Aqua was against Ruby being an idol, and then it just kind of like
okay, I kind of get what you're saying, where you feel like there's like you're like there should be more of like a payoff to what is going on screen, and you feel like you're not getting it.
Yeah. And And then like that's happened with like Kana becoming well, like okay, so that like Kana becoming an actor and like kind of being quickly convinced. It did come back in these like two episodes where like, you know, she mentions how she's been saying the opposite of how she feels, and like I feel like that one was kind of like resolved for me a little bit, where like it's still like, you know, they're clearly still exploring that. But like when like Ruby picks up whatchamacallit, Kana, after she's like not wanting to let them like down and like have them fail with her and stuff, that instance there felt like kind of like a little too quick for me. It just kind of didn't really like hit. I feel like she didn't really like say that much to her to make her kind of like give it a like cheer up. Like I got the point of like, you know, even though she's failed a lot as an actor, she's literally just starting with the idol thing. So technically like she's a beginner with that. So like she, all her failures from being an actor don't really apply here. She is just like the rookie idol. Like I got that, but like it was still kind of like to me. I don't know. I am looking forward to more Oshinoko, but I do hope it like steps up in like the newer stuff at some point.
Yeah. Well, the show's over, right?
Yeah, I mean that 11
Yeah.
was the last one, so it's season 2 or when I read it.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that like I liked it's sad that like the most engaging part, honestly, of the last couple episodes for me was like the setup for the next arc. Which like always sucks, where it's like I'm kind of like not super mid, I guess, but like not the biggest fan, I think, of this like last idol arc. I don't know. It was fine, you know. It's like
I definitely agree.
it's hard
with this
because
last
I know
episode
that
in
the show's
particular.
a lot more than an idol show and is about a lot more. But with this being the last arc, it kind of almost feels like one. And it's like, man, I've just seen better idol shit. Like, if like you're gonna try to be like an idol show, you gotta like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, like we don't even have like an idea of like a rival idol group,
we didn't even really get
or
like
even with
super
like
banger performances. Like,
yeah, the performance wasn't that good, and then like when you compare it to like Aqua and like the Love and
Yeah.
House stuff, like I feel like there's more
and
characters
it's
there to
not like,
bounce off of.
you know, I understand that like, you know, the show isn't necessarily trying to be just an idol show, and also the way the show handles like its emotional climax in the performance is a little bit different. But also, like, you know, I've seen emotional climaxes handled during idol performances, you know what I mean, and have been fucking banger, right?
Yeah.
Like, to not even go to Love Live, like the fucking one in Idolmaster goes so fucking crazy. It's unreal. You know what I mean? In the Chihaya episodes. And so like it's hard to then like watch something like this. It's like, man, you know, and like I almost like don't want to even like entertain the idea that like the idol shit isn't like something they very clearly want you to pay attention to, because like the OP is about the idol shit, and like the show starts and ends on the idol shit. You know what I mean? It kind of bookends it with it. So like,
Yeah, and obviously
yeah. And so like it's very clearly there, and like the show's like obviously the manga and as it goes, it like the idol stuff I'm sure is like still there and still relevant, but it's not as much like this is an idol series. But like the anime in and of itself is like just like as it is like almost kind of an idol series, and that like begs me to like want to compare it to other idol series, which I know is unfair to the series, but like, you know, my brain kind of just ends up doing it anyways. It's like, man, like I'd rather just like rewatch like fucking Love Live or like Idolmaster, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the show like it like even by the end, now that we've gotten to see the first like arc that's centered around the idol stuff, it just does too much better of a job with like Aqua's like acting stuff in comparison to the idol stuff. And like even when you were saying like, oh, the setup for the next arc is more interesting, I agree, especially because Kana's gonna like act again and like be part of that. Like that's just more interesting to me.
Yeah, like the entertainment industry stuff, and like I think the mystery that like the brother is solving surrounding the you know, the mom is like really good. You know what I mean? And the idol stuff is like not as good.
Yeah.
And it's not as good because I don't like idol stuff. I like good idol shows. You know what I mean? I just don't think that the idol stuff in the show is like particularly engaging. or great?
Yeah, like maybe it'll become different when like Ruby becomes more aware of what Aqua's doing and like either gets involved in some kind of way. So like on her side, she's also like doing some shit, or like even just being aware of it, like kind of makes her think about her performances differently and like the kinds of people she's around. I don't know, but there needs to be something on that like side of the series. Because like even if I don't like have my expectations of like, oh, it's 50-50 on like the acting and the idol stuff, I feel like it's like, I don't know, like 20%, like 20% on the idol stuff in terms of the entertainment, and then like 80% on just like the acting and like what Aqua's doing.
Yeah. I would say that I'm done talking about the show, but
Yeah, Craftsdwarf is just gone.
I mean, how
so.
many like rounds of things do you think you have? Because I have like a shit ton. So
I have like 2 at most. I was just gonna do 1, but I could do 2. Should I just start now?
I mean, if you only have 2, because it's so short in the episode, I could start with 1, and then you could go, and then I could go, and like hopefully Craftsdwarf would be back by then, if that works. Because I have like 5 or 6 that I could do. So I
Oh my god.
I can, you know what I mean? I can start getting some of them out of the way.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Never mind, he's back. Okay, you can just
he's
go.
back.
Oh my. Shit.
Or
Okay.
do you want to talk about Oshinoko?
Crafts. Did you
Or
have
do you
anything
want us
else
to sum up like
yeah.
more of our
No, I
thoughts
was-
like succinctly for you, or will you just listen to it when you edit?
For Oshinoko. Oh, my final thoughts on Oshinoko. Yeah, good show. The first episode was definitely like phenomenal, and I still think the rest of the show was pretty fun and solid. And
I don't think it ever reached that height. I was like holding out, like I wasn't gonna like assume like everyone else was assuming at a certain point that like, oh, it'll never be as good as the first episode, but like, nah, it didn't get close.
I mean, there were a couple. There was I wouldn't say I don't know. I mean, there was a couple really good.
Okay, maybe I wouldn't say it literally didn't get close, but like,
yeah, there was some good stuff in there. I kind of didn't expect it to get like that peak again, because like just the build up and payoff there was so good. I feel like it's gonna take like a lot more of the series to do something like that or more, because I think the whole series would have higher peaks, but I don't think they would be that early in the story, if that makes sense. As early as
yeah, I mean that's definitely fair.
Yeah, and like I like the characters. I'm super into the exploration of the entertainment industry and actors and idols, and I'm super looking forward to checking out the manga. Or if we get a season 2, I might very well watch that as well.
Well, they already confirmed it.
Nice, perfect. And I guess as far as like what I've been watching this season, I think it just narrowly edges out Ousama ranking Treasure Chest of Courage as my favorite seasonal. So so yeah, good fucking show. I liked it.
That's nice.
If you want to hear at least, I mean, Nun and I kind of had similar thoughts, which was like we enjoyed the acting stuff a lot, but the idol stuff was I don't know, a little bit lame.
Yeah, it was definitely like notably weaker.
Okay, I mean, admittedly, we also haven't really gotten super into the idol stuff. Like, in Aqua got way more this season. I feel
yeah, I think you're right. It just like what like I had said was like it. The problem is because the show like starts and ends with the idol stuff, and the OP being idol themed. Like the show is like kind of begging you to see it as an idol show, at least for this season. Which like not to be like too unfair to the show, but then like it makes me think about like other idol shows, and then it's like it's not them.
I mean, I was gonna make a joke about how it gets the privilege of being my favorite idol show I've finished this year for about a day.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like
tomorrow, I'm finishing High.
That's what I'm saying. Like almost any other idol show I can think of that I've seen that like is decent. I think I liked the idol stuff in it more. But Oshinoko is carried so strongly by the.
Well, you haven't seen Wake Up Girls,
right?
So,
that's true. So I mean, I mainly mean Aikatsu, Idolmaster, Love Live, right? I think are all just like.
There's the I would say Wake Up Girls' idol stuff is stronger. I'm gonna put it out
That's
there.
a statement. I love it. But I do think the show is like hard carried and like to being a good show still by the mystery and the other entertainment industry stuff.
I mean, I also kind of, because like they even touch on like, being an idol isn't also about the idol stuff, and like Aikatsu goes into like other shit as much as maybe not as much as like they obviously have a performance every episode, but like there is also like a lot of acting in the sense of like, okay, they do the the little fun episodes where they're like this is a mecha episode, or this one's like there's a vampire hunter thing, or this one's at a cafe, or this one's Alice in Wonderland, where they're acting in a thing, so yeah, okay. I guess I'm also just like viewing it with the lens of like, this is a much larger story. So, I don't know about much larger. I don't know how long the manga is actually. So,
All right.
But yeah, I'm ready to go into Nun's backlog.
Gamer.
Nice.
How many rotations are we doing? Because I can do multiple easily.
I can only do 2 at best. I'm sorry. Maybe there's a third in there if I really fucking think about it.
No, we don't have to. I was expecting 2 regardless, but more. Yeah, so we could do 2.
Crouch, just so you know, I could do like 5, but
I think I could do 5
got
as
a
well.
lot, but it's fine.
I could do 3 at best.
Hold on.
Right.
We have more weeks to come, so
So my first one is something that was actually mentioned earlier.
Hell yeah, Gamer. What'd you think?
I'm actually like really enjoying it. Like when I actually like sit down to play it, it's like I feel like I'm like actually like immersed into it to where like time just kind of passes. Like I'm not really getting distracted as I'm playing, and like I actually think it's like super interesting to just kind of like really like in like within the maps kind of like have to keep in mind things that I'll have to do later because like I'm not prepared for it now. Like, especially before I have all the Pikmin types. Like,
not only what you need to do later that day, but you're planning out what you need to do in future days and future weeks to try to... Yeah, that game's so cool.
Yeah, I kind of like how, like, sometimes, like, even though, like, it really feels bad to not be able to get a part, like, at least, like, 1 part per day, like, it feels bad. Sometimes you do just kind of have to, like, grind out getting like a few more of a certain Pikmin type, and like that kind of can waste the day a little bit. Maybe it's just because I'm bad. I don't know. Like at first I was definitely like not being risky enough. Like I would be like a little too conservative about how many Pikmin I would have out on the field like doing stuff while I go do stuff. Like I'd be worried to have like, oh, these Pikmin are just staying here to break down this wall while these Pikmin are like going to bring back this thing to the ship. I wasn't really like doing quite that at first. But like once I got the hang of it, I was like kind of doing that more often. And I also just kind of like, especially when like time would like wear down and it would be like close to tonight, I would just kind of like manually put all my Pikmin back into the thing to make sure they were safe instead of like understanding that like, as long as they're following me and they're not like straggling, they'll still like make it back to the thing. But like I would give up some time just because like I'm pretty sure I read it correctly. Like I already knew that, I was pretty sure that's how it worked, but like I didn't really want to risk it for a little while. But then I just started like kind of, risking it. And then it obviously, has been working out. It's definitely a really fun and unique game. Like it makes me want to like start trying to play some of the Nintendo franchises that I haven't really like tried that much. Like the most I played of Pikmin before Pikmin 1 was just the demo of Pikmin 3, and I liked it. Like I always wanted to play Pikmin, but like it wasn't as available, so I just didn't do it. And I didn't want to just skip to 3. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun now. I'm not done just yet, but I'm a decent ways in, and I've started like being able to really like get multiple parts in a day. Like for a little while I was like behind, like I feel like by minimum is like having the parts left be even with the days I have left, but now I'm like, I think I'm slightly ahead. Like I have one more part than there is days left. It's either 1 or 2, I can't remember, because I was just like really making up for the days I was messing up.
Well, and so I I don't remember too well because Pikmin was one of the first games I got when I got my GameCube, and so I have a fuck ton of nostalgia for that game. You know what I mean? I played it all the time as a kid, but like in my brain, and maybe it's just because I was a kid and I was bad. That's a game that like it takes like multiple, like I know it took me like multiple 30-day playthroughs to like actually do a lot of the stuff that I had wanted to do, because like I know that there's like a bunch of like really hard, I'm pretty sure optional content. Most of that's I think in the second game, but I think there is some of it in the
second game is kind of structured completely differently. Did you have either of you guys played Pikmin 2? Well, okay, Vindy, have you played Pikmin 2?
No, I only played 1 as a kid.
Okay,
I didn't even know there was a 2 for a long time.
Gotcha. Okay, anyway, keep going. I'll explain my history with Pikmin, but anyway.
Oh no, it was just that, but like I always loved the game a lot, and I like remember it really fondly. And yeah.
No, I would. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a super unique game. Like for as far as Nintendo stuff goes.
So yeah, I was a bit older than you, Vindy, but I also had it on the GameCube, and I also loved the fucking shit out of it. I played. I'm pretty sure it might have been a few years before I went back to it and actually like got all 30 parts, but I definitely have done it. I also played quite a bit of Pikmin 2. I'm pretty sure. I think because in Pikmin 2, like I said, the game structured differently, and that like Olimar is coming back to the planet. And this time it's to find treasures to sell to, basically help his company out of debt. So I've cleared the debt, but I did not 100% Pikmin 2. I did not get every treasure. But I still played quite a bit of them. I'm curious as to what you guys think about Pikmin 2, because I'm pretty sure it's like the darling of the franchise, but I personally prefer Pikmin 1. And I'm not going to explain why, because I'll let you guys, decide for yourselves and go in without preconceptions. But I love Pikmin 2. Pikmin, I love the atmosphere. I love the puzzles and the thinking and the planning of the multitasking. That's really what the biggest skill you can have in the game, I think, is just being able to do multiple things at once by delegating your Pikmin. And it's just a really fun game, and it's I like it a lot, and I haven't played it in a long time, but I'm definitely excited to. So because I also want to.
The only like.
No, I also want to play it, and so that's it. That was all I had to say.
The only like minor complaint I have about it is just like switching Pikmin. I feel like control wise could be like a little bit better. I don't know if like I almost feel like it's part of the point a little bit, kind of, because it's like in one of Olimar's dialogues he says like switching Pikmin is like a tough skill to master or whatever, but like he must master it to keep them safe or whatever. But I just felt like switching Pikmin could be like just be better, and I feel like from what I remember of the Pikmin demo, it wasn't they did change that later on where it's like a little more intuitive to switch, but maybe that's also because there's more Pikmin types, and if it just like remained like how it is in Pikmin 1, that would be like really bad. Like if you have all the Pikmin on your team and it kind of is like a little slow and a little clunky to like switch the Pikmin, it'd be kind of a detriment. But that's like my only thing. Like I feel like a little bit I was like fighting with the controls, and like that's not like the best place for the difficulty to come from, because like there were certain times where like that was just like the only thing holding me back from like what I was trying to do. But it's definitely a really good game. Glad I'm playing it.
I assume you're done. None?
Yeah, I'm done.
I saw Spider-Verse a little over a week ago now, but that movie's so fucking good. Holy shit. Like I knew it was going to be good, but oh my god. Have both of y'all seen it by this point?
I'm not going to see it.
No,
I haven't.
See it
until part 2 comes out, and I'm going to watch the
oh my god.
He's not sane.
I'm the sane one. You guys are. You're the one cliffhangered on a blue ball on a cliffhanger. So okay.
No, it doesn't matter. I had such a good experience seeing that movie. Like there was a fucking kid talking in the theater behind me the whole time, and like it was annoying as fuck, and I still didn't care. I love the fuck out of that movie. Like that's how good that shit was. That like this fucking annoying as fuck kid who would not shut up. Like this like fucking like 14-year-old. Didn't even like honestly take me out of the movie that much. I was fucking enthralled. So fucking good. I thought that like Into the Spider-Verse was like the best looking animated movie I'd ever seen. No. This one went bonkers crazy. Like from like the first time you actually see any kind of like real action, you just like know that shit's different. And like it's so good, and like Miles is so fucking good, and Gwen is so good. I love Miguel. It's good, and like I think that it does a lot of very interesting things related to like I think it is maybe one of the best stories I've ever seen, it being like extremely metatextual, and like, you know, this one goes a lot like way harder than the like first one did, like kind of explicitly stating some of that. But I don't know, I think like it's so good at what it's doing, and the way it handles it is so well done, and is tied into like the story of the characters so fucking well that like it's just insane. And then like the fucking, you know, movie just looks so fucking good visually. Like, oh my fucking god, insane, bonkers, crazy. I don't know what else I can say
without spoiling.
Just the goat.
Yeah.
The one area I do think, and I don't know if you would agree, none, that like the one area I do think it wasn't as good for me as like the last one was, I don't think the soundtrack was as good or as noticeable. Not the okay. I'm sorry. Let me not the soundtrack. I mean,
I haven't seen the movie.
Oh
yet,
wait,
so
sorry. I thought you had said you saw it. So let me clarify. Not the soundtrack in terms of like the score, like the instrumental music in the background. I think that shit like goes bonkers. The like the licensed songs that are in it. You know what I mean? I think like I wasn't as into as I was into them in the first one. I don't think they were maybe executed as well, but I think like the actual like music in the background most of the time is like crazy good. But yeah, great movie. I'm very excited for the next one, but I don't know. I might go see this one in theaters again.
Cool. So I guess to keep up with the seasonals, I finished now the Konosuba prequel that's focused on Megane and Ousama, Ranking of Kings, Ousama ranking, season, the second season. So yeah, the Konosuba prequel was very whatever, like it's fine, but like watching it, like there's some funny stuff. It's okay. But like I definitely felt like, oh, like Konosuba really works because of like the four characters together and them all being fucking stupid and dumb. And so with this one, like they add some new characters, and Megane is fine, and Union's kind of like the straight man basically, but like it definitely felt like lacking because like I don't know. I mean, there's some cameos for like they tease, and it ends with Megane meeting Kazuma and Aqua and stuff, but it was fine. So Ousama ranking is like I still like what I liked about the first season. I forget how much I talked about that before, but like I like the setting, I like the characters, like there's some good emotional moments. It as a fantasy I think is good because I think like a lot of fantasy is sort of like leaning on fantasy tropes, where I think Ousama ranking is cool because it kind of like it's still like got Medieval stuff going on, but it also just has some fucking weird shit that just like it actually feels kind of unique and more fantastic in that way. And ranking it, and this season, I keep saying second season, but it's also kind of like how it's adapting it, because there's a movie that was announced too. So what I'm pretty sure this season was doing, what?
I just love anime
Okay,
movies.
cool.
I'm sorry, I'm excited.
Yeah, well, because like so basically what they did is they're so what I'm pretty sure happened during the content of the first season is they skipped over certain content because like it wouldn't fit the run of the season. Like there was but I don't know what content would have come from that material for sure, and what content, because there was also content adapted from after season 1 basically. So what I'm pretty sure that they're doing is they're basically adapting stuff that was important that they skipped over, and then some stuff that's building into the movie, I presume. So So it's kind of episodic in that like there's like flashback episodes where we see flashbacks for characters like Miranjo or Base or the characters from the underworld or even Boji and Daida, or we see then we see stuff from like that happened during the events of season 1, like you can tell like where the characters are, like about where it takes place, and then there's some stuff that takes place afterwards, and it's just it's really solid. Like the fact that it's only 10 episodes I think worked in its favor, because like every episode is like just like really strong. I think maybe not every really strong, but they're all like solid, and I enjoyed all of them, I'm pretty sure. And then there are a few episodes that I think are more standout. But it's still Ranking of Kings. It's still a really good show. What I assume to be a really good adaptation, because it just like looks really good visually still. And I had a lot of fun with it. And it was very close to Oshinoko as far as like shows I liked from this last season. So I didn't watch that many, but I think that was the only 3 I watched, in fact. But yeah, good show.
Okay, nice. Guess it's my turn again.
Yes, sir.
If you want it to be.
Well, I finished Roboco, the anime.
Let's fucking go!
Of course.
Oh,
It's still just the best thing ever.
Hey.
We already know this.
Y'all are weird.
Okay. You're the
Yeah,
weird
you're the-
one.
Honestly,
2
true.
out of 3 have seen Roboco. You haven't.
I saw the first episode.
Okay, well, you need to watch it again and watch the rest.
I think I'm okay.
Cringe.
Okay.
Cringe. You never say Ocho again.
They were just like,
No, I don't deserve it. You're right. I've betrayed my way.
there were just a lot of really great episodes. Some of the standout ones was like the snowball fight with like the cool Bondo doing the Luffy holding up the flag thing, but still being disqualified. Obviously, the slam dunk episode went crazy.
Yeah,
like,
I watched that one.
that's
twice.
just still
I
one of
had
the
to.
best. I think I watched it like 3 times.
That's fair.
Like that one's just
That's
amazing. I don't know. I really like Roboco as an anime, and like I think as it went along, the time, like it being only 3 minutes, made more sense as it went along. I feel like it really like grew into the format.
Mm-hmm.
And like I guess it makes sense, especially that like the first episode, it'd be more difficult to be that way since like the first episode is the first chapter, and the first chapter is obviously like really long. But I think it was definitely funny for being like 3 minutes. It felt like literal like anime TikToks, like with how fast they would just go by, and just like, yep, I absorbed all of that. I definitely did.
No, Dot kind of mentioned how he felt like it worked better as an anime, and I think I agree, where it's like it because it goes faster, like you're spending less time reading and more time just getting to the jokes, basically, because it's just rapid fire. It just keeps hitting you, and I think I don't know. My thing with Roboco is I'm pretty sure I legitimately just did not like it when it started, and then it just gradually continued to win me over. And now I just like, yeah, it's good. I like Roboco. It's funny. I rate it, and there's a few chapters I don't care for, but I can expect to read a chapter and actually like find something enjoyable about it, whether it's a joke or a wholesome moment. And the anime really isn't any different, even though like back when I was reading this chapters, I didn't feel that way, and now like going through the early material again in that way, it's like, yeah, I like this series. It's fine. I like it. Funny, good.
Honestly, something you said on Nensho really like clicked with me when it came to like gag series. That's like how you were saying like how not everything has to be a joke. Like I think
Yes.
that's just one of the best things when it comes to gag series, like being able to vary it up with like, yeah, it could just end in like a gagging like, haha, look at like, I don't know, this character being a pervert and he just gets punished for it. Or sometimes like, he actually has this sad backstory as to why he's a pervert. Let's like actually, wow, like let's feel bad for him, I guess, and end on that note. I don't know. That's just like a really extremely random thing, but like I feel like just being able to like not always do the same thing, or like, not have to
be a
just
slave to it being a gag manga, basically, right?
Yeah, the same format. Like that's also something that like I was noticing about like Gutsy Frog as I've been watching that, about how like sometimes there is just like really wholesome endings to an episode, or sometimes like Hiroshi, which is, the main character's name, sometimes the joke is on him and like it just ends with him like getting punished for what he did. Or sometimes there's like an in-between where it's like a character kind of misunderstands something, but they feel really good about it, so like let's just let them have that, even though like they're kind of the joke, but like it's still kind of wholesome, like it's doing both. Like I think like between those three things of like wholesome, they're the joke, or like kind of an in-between, like just picking from those three things, I feel like really works for like gag series. And I think it something I'm gonna keep in mind with like gag series I actually really like.
And another thing I was going to bring up is because, like, I think, especially early on, I was not, because it uses so many references, and I definitely think people are naturally kind of, like, averse to that to some degree, because it's like, oh, it's leaning on a different thing rather than doing something funny on its own merits, right? Or the joke is just the fact that it's referencing something. Like, I remember the chapter I really felt that when I first read it was the Promised Neverland one, where they just did a lot of, like, took a lot of from the panels of that series, and I remember being really annoyed at that chapter, and I kind of flew through it, like skimmed through it, because I was but if I reread it, and I might not even find it that funny, but then like there are moments where I think like the references are like the fact that the Hunter x Hunter like Heaven's Arena referees are recurring characters at this point because they show up every time there's a competition is just like really silly. And then of course like the slam dunk chapter is like the fact that like you have this super over the top episode that's super like fun and silly in its own way. And the way it ends on the slam dunk reference, it's not like, haha, it's a slam dunk reference. It's actually like, no, this is this earned moment between these two characters who just helped the fuck out of their friend. Like, it's actually, like, cool in its own way. Like, I don't actually know the context of the slam dunk chapter, but I expect that it's also a similar kind of, like, these characters are fucking doing it, dude. They're high-fiving, they're fucking gaming, right? Like,
yeah, they're doing something for, like, one of their friends, and, like,
right, so
they won, like, yeah, it's something.
So it's not, it is referencing that page, but it's also just doing it in its own like legitimate way. So I think it's fine in that way, and sometimes it references stuff like I remember I think the chapter that like Roboco first like clicked with me, and I remember even some other people who didn't like Roboco reacted to it, where it was the one where Gachi and Mototsu were arguing about Nisekoi. Where like that exchange they had was just so perfect and so good. Like, what's wrong with hoping? Like, it's so perfect, it's so good, and like it's obviously again they're referencing. Or there was even a recent chapter that made me laugh where Roboco is like, a spoilery thing happened in Jujutsu Kaisen. I need a super move. Like I need to go help them. Like, and it's like, Roboco, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it was just so stupid. I don't know. Good series.
Yeah, I think something that's really great about Roboco's references is just like, it clearly is respecting like what it's referencing and just like really likes the things that it's referencing. Especially with the Nisekoi thing where like Gachi is defending Nisekoi and like understands the point. And like Motsuo's like feelings are clearly like not treated as like a joke or that he's like completely wrong or whatever. It's just like, he's definitely not right though. Is definitely like how it comes across.
Well, you reminded me of like another early joke that I laughed at with Roboco, where it's like I think like basically Blue Box started and the author was like shit, or you could tell that the author again had that respect for the series. And I remember one of the praises Roboco gave was like Chi's knees are drawn really well, and I just like thought that was like it was referencing, like it was complimenting the art of Blue Box, but in a funny way that's specifically like tied to because she has the jokes about her knees. And I remember that made me laugh, and that was probably one of those early moments where I'm like, okay, all right, this manga isn't completely unfunny.
My thing with Roboco has always been like, before I read it, it's like I just saw literally everybody shitting on it, and it's like I didn't even go into it like thinking like, oh, I'm gonna like it because everyone doesn't. Like, I just kind of read it and it's like I literally do not see what's like so aggressively terrible about it. And then it like grew on me, especially like the moment where Roboco really like changes is like where Gachi and Motsuo have their chapters where it's like it shows that they're genuine guys, like they're actually friends with Bondo. Especially Motsuo's chapter and episode, like his Like, I like his more than Gotchi's, to be honest, where, like, he's just, like, busting his ass to be able to, like, hang out with them, even though, like, his father's, like, specifically trying to, like, give him so much stuff to do that he doesn't have time to hang out with them, but, like, he still, like, overcomes all that. It's, like, it's just a great chapter, and it's, like, there's no, like, jokes on him or jokes on, like, Bondo or whatever. It's just, like, that's just a chapter.
Yeah.
All right. What am I gonna talk about? I will talk about Final Fantasy 1 and 2 because I've played both of them. I liked them quite a bit. I think I like 2 more than 1, which I'm pretty sure is a hot take, but I'll explain why in a second. But basically, like, I think to say 1 first, I think 1 is like a really cool game. It's not like too hard. Like, I do grind a little bit at like the beginning because like, I wanted money to buy spells, and so anytime I was grinding, it was more for like money than levels, which I'm personally like more okay with. And then I mean the levels come with that. I did have to grind for levels at the very end, but that was more because I tried to play with a red mage, and so I didn't have like a party wide heal, and so that made chaos really hard because he has party wide attacks that were doing like 2/3 of everyone's health, so I needed a party wide heal, but I didn't have one. So it was tough. But I eventually got through it. And then I don't know. I mean, I think that game's fun. There's like some cool little moments in it that you play that are like goofy and silly and fun. Like I like going to see a fucking dragon to get your class changed. Like that shit goes hard. I think the like kind of twist at the end of the game is kind of good. I don't know. It's like a fun, silly little goofy time. But I think Final Fantasy 2 is actually just like a step up in every way. I really enjoy the progression system actually in 2. I know some people don't like it, but like, for example, the one thing that I really enjoyed was it allowed me to kind of do like what I actually end up doing in like Persona, where instead of having to have like my party-wide buffs all on one like the white mage, I kind of spread out the buffs among everyone. So like I only had to spend 2 turns with everyone buffing everyone on like hard fights, and then I was able to just like have everyone do whatever else they were like competent at, which I personally enjoy more than this guy's the dedicated like buffer and healer, and that's all you ever do. It just like kind of feels lame for that party member, which is why I like didn't do white mage in Final Fantasy 1, because like I think that's kind of sad to have a party member do just that. But it's fine. It wasn't the end of the world. I don't know. I enjoyed the story a lot more too. I was surprised. I think that like, I had like heard, that like, actually I'd heard nothing about 2's story, but I was surprised that like the party members were actually characters, and there were like way more like story moments. I don't know if either of y'all have played FF2, but like there are characters that like do things, and like characters die, and there's like scenes that take place. It was like crazy. Like I was like super into it. So I thought 2 was like a step up in every fucking way. That game goes fucking hard. I love that game.
Yeah, Final Fantasy, because like so my history with Final Fantasy, like I think I forget if I mentioned this to you or mentioned it on the podcast, but like because we owned a lot of the games, or at one point or another. I'm pretty sure I've played 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. I'm not sure. We had it on Game Boy, but I don't remember if I actually started a file in it. That might be the 6, then 10 and 12, and the only ones I ever finished were 1 and 2. So I think I'm pretty sure back then I liked Final Fantasy 1 more, but I don't know what I don't know. I like them both, I'm pretty sure. But I just sunk way more time into 1. But yeah, it's been a while. I just remember like, I played a lot of Final Fantasy games, and just those were the only I think the only ones I actually played a decent amount of after that was probably 6, but even then I don't even know if I hit the halfway point in that game. So I don't know. I'm definitely looking forward to going through Final Fantasy at some point, but and you didn't play Dawn of Souls, did you?
What is that?
So in some versions of Final Fantasy, with Final Fantasy 2, there is an extra story that takes place after Final Fantasy 2, in which you play it in the underworld and you play as all the dead characters.
Oh, no. No. I was just I was the Pixel remaster, so it's just like the NES game.
Yeah, I heard that that's the only one that doesn't, or one of the releases since I think the Game Boy version was the first one, or maybe it was there a PS, or no, it was PSP version.
There was a PS1 version. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, there's a PS1 version? Okay, I don't know which is the first version with Dawn of Souls. I know the Game Boy version had it as a subtitle, like it was Final Fantasy 1 and 2 Dawn of Souls, so that might have been the first one to have that, and except for the Pixel remaster, every subsequent version of Final Fantasy 2 had that extra story. But I don't know if it's worth it because it is very grindy, because like, you know, if you think about the characters who died in that game and what levels they were when they died, like, oh, you have to get these lower level characters up to the level of the higher level characters. And the final dungeon is also harder than, it's basically a bunch of final extra content that's way harder than the base game. So I remember there being a lot of grinding, and I still couldn't get through the final dungeons. So you know, probably ultimately not worth it. But you know, if I don't, maybe there's some story stuff there that I don't remember. So but yeah, it's been a while, so I just thought I'd bring it up because I was wondering.
Yeah, but overall, I liked both games. I'm very excited because I have all the Pixel remasters on Switch. I'm excited to play 3. I'm so a ways into 3, but I'm excited to play 3 through fucking 6.
Cool. While I was looking at other seasonals, in case I was like, maybe there's something we could watch that's not the Vending Machine show, there was one poster that caught my attention, so I decided to check out the manga, and I ended up getting caught up. It's Suki no ko ga Megane wo Wasureta, which is basically it's a cute like romance series where it's like the premise is that the main girl, her eyesight's really fucking terrible, and she forgets or breaks her glasses a lot, and so the boy ends up helping her as a sort of desk mate when she can't fucking see. The series actually, I didn't like it at first, like, because as someone who's worn glasses since second grade, it kind of triggered me because it's like she's fucking like you know, her eyesight like kind of how do I put this, like, she doesn't act like a person who actually has bad eyesight when her glasses are off, or at least not how I would act. Like, she's fucking, you know, like, she has to get as close as I have to read stuff without my glasses, but then she can't. She's somehow more, I don't know, maybe she is more blind than me, but I don't know, I feel like you can still see colors and shapes to a degree without your eyesight or without your glasses. So it's like, you know, so that I don't know, it bothered me a little, but that, you know, I got over that, and I kept reading anyway. And you know, it's just a really cute, wholesome romance story with, you know, guy has no self-confidence, which I've been reading a lot of those lately, and you know, girl, I mean, actually in this case the girl doesn't have self-confidence either, but you know, it's really cute. They get into more relationship stuff later. Like, it's always because I you know, like, Nun, you've mentioned a few romance series that I've got. I've read Nagatoro. Did I mention that I read Nagatoro?
I saw it on your mouth.
Okay, gotcha. Because I caught up to that, and I caught up to Anjo-san. And like, that's why I bring up the low self-confidence thing, because like between those two and Sono Bisque, it's like all these characters are just super down on themselves.
Reborn as well,
or which
even
one?
if it's not romance.
Yeah,
Reborn.
Sure, that's okay. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that one because I was specifically thinking about like
I was thinking about that
like,
when you were saying it.
I was specifically thinking about like school comedy romances and with like, you know, guy characters who are really down on themselves, and I'm like, I've been reading a lot of these lately. Though this one's a little different, where it's like compared, especially because I remember you specifically like looking for another series like Nagatoro or Anjo-san, and this isn't that because she's not really like teasing him. But I was gonna ask if that was a specific aspect that you liked about those two, or was it also like the down on himself main character, or
I don't know if it's either of those things.
Okay.
That is like the reason why I was looking for another one, to be honest.
Okay. Because yeah, I guess aside from like what I've talked about, like mostly, I guess what, like, you know, because there's some funny stuff, and it's especially the main. She's so cute. Like, that's another thing that bothered me about earlier series, because I think I'm thinking about like Love Live and Aikatsu, because like I like girls wearing glasses because I like them design wise. With anime girls with glasses is really good. But then you get fucking characters like shit. Where'd my brain go? What's the fuck? Hanayo and Ki from Aikatsu, where it's like, okay, yeah, they wear glasses, and then they remove the glasses, and it's like, no, you were cuter with the glasses, put them back on, and it's like the show, well, okay, Ki does put them back on sometimes, but it's like, it's unfortunate, because they're idols, so they have to dance, and they can't dance with glasses, I guess, I don't know. Whatever. And so this whole series is like you have a girl who's fucking adorable with glasses, and she keeps fucking breaking them or forgetting them, and so it's like no, but no, she does wear them more lately. Her hair is also it's really, I don't know. I like the way it's like kind of a little messy and fluffy, and I don't know. She's super cute, and you know, so it's fun, cute manga. I liked it.
What's it called again?
Mega Suki is the shortened version, but or Suki Mega rather, excuse me, and then it's Suki no ko ga Megane o Wasureta, and O is spelled with W-O. So it's also an upcoming seasonal next season. Like that's why it caught my eye, because I saw the poster and I was like, oh, I'm a little interested in this. I'll just check out the manga. So that's another way you can find it, is just poking around at the seasonals. But yeah, what about next week?
I might talk about. Sorry, I know it's not the right order, but I might talk about Final Fantasy 3. I might talk about RRR, the fucking Indian movie, because that shit is also good. I might talk about Cocaine Bear. It's like an Indian movie. It's not Bollywood because it's different. But it's an Indian movie that was like really popular on Netflix last year that I watched the other day, and it goes fucking crazy. It's so fucking good.
Okay.
There's a good chance I talk about the Gutsy Frog because I've been watching it again recently, and I've been really into it. I've been watching like multiple episodes when I watch it. Even today, I watched like 3 episodes, and I wanted to watch more because like the next episode is about my favorite character. Well, one of my favorite characters, probably my favorite.
Okay.
But I had already seen 3, and I needed to watch like Gintama and Oshinoko, so I couldn't.
Unfortunate. So aside from Guardians 3 and One Piece up to the Maple or Syrup Village, I forget which. I always mix up what it's the Kuro
Syrup
arc,
Village.
whatever. Thank you.
I think.
Yeah, I think it is Syrup. You're right. And then I've read a couple books lately, and I'm reading a really long one right now. I'm reading Infinite Jest, which is like 1,000 fucking pages. So that's gonna take a minute. But I read a couple other ones that I finished within the last week or two that I might talk about, and then I also finished Akagi and 10, so I can also talk about those. But yeah, we'll see. And I'm by next. Oh, also there. But then I'm also about to finish Aikatsu. And I'm reading Kaguya-sama as well, and those
we get it.
I might
You're
also
just
want to
better
talk
than
about.
us.
So everything's falling into place. But anyway, all right. Anyway, you guys mentioned stuff for next week, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay. All right. Well, that about does it for the episode then. So
Adios,
we will see you next time.
gamers.